Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I have for you today a little mini try a chapter of some of my Christmas books. I have quite a few Christmas books that I know I would never be able to get to in one December. So I just picked out three. I actually chose the three that have a blue cover. And I thought I would do a little try a chapter and then decide which one I want to read. I recently just finished my November Patreon book club book, which was a nonfiction. And now I feel like I'm just in the mood for something light and fun and Christmassy. So I just grabbed three to try the first chapter and I'll see which one I'm going to read. And then I'll read through it and come and kind of give a mini review at the end. So I have The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I've read other Jenny Colgan books. Some I have really liked, some I haven't, but I feel like this is super Christmassy and very pretty, so I'm going to give this one a try. I have Home Sweet Christmas by Susan Mallory. Love that cover, super cute. And also Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss. I don't know for any of these what the spice level is as far as the romance goes. I don't know even what the stories are about. I just know they're Christmassy. So I'm gonna read the synopsis and the first chapter of each so I can come back and tell you, and then I will decide which one I'm going to read first. So I will start with the Jenny Colgan, because I feel like that's the most Christmassy cover to me. So I'm going to start with this one. It has a little prologue and then chapter one. Oh, it's very short. Maybe I'll read up to chapter 3 because that still is only up to page 13. Each chapter is only like 1 or 2 pages. So I will read about 15 pages and then get back to you. Okay, I read the first 13 pages, chapter 1 and 2, and the prologue of The Christmas Bookshop. And honestly, it's slightly annoying at this point. The characters are annoying, I should say. It's just the behind the scenes kind of setup. So we follow sisters, Sophia and Carmen. Carmen is the younger sister and beats to her own drum, and Sophia is the older sister who seemingly has her life all together. She's got 3 kids, a big house in Edinburgh, Scotland, and the mom is trying to convince the older sister to take Carmen in because Carmen had been working at a department store that just closed the summer before. So now we're leading up to Christmas and the mom is trying to convince the older sister to help out, and the older sister is very put off by the younger sister and her ways. And Carmen doesn't really feel like a part of the family. She doesn't want to be going to all of her niece's birthday party. There's just always something going on. And Carmen thinks Sophia expects expensive presents, and maybe she does. I don't know. The girls don't get along. The sisters don't get along at all. Carmen is slightly annoying, and Sophia and the mom are kind of mean when they're talking about Carmen. So I'm not loving the characters, but I'm very curious how we're going to get into the point of the bookshop, because I believe Carmen is going to start working at this bookshop in Edinburgh, maybe running it. I don't know. So I'm very curious to keep going, but the characters are kind of annoying. So we'll see. This might not be the one I pick up first. Let's move on. The next one on the stack here is Meet Me at the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss. Let's see how long the first chapter is of this one. These chapters are quite a bit longer, so I will just do one. It's still 14 pages. So it's about the same amount of pages for just the one chapter. So I will read this first chapter and then get back to you. I just read the first chapter of Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Jenny Bayliss, and this one is going to be a no from me. I actually am going to put it in my Pango pile and get rid of it. I'm not going to read this at all. I think it started out with promise. Nori, our main character, Nori is short for Eleanor, I think. She runs a used bookstore, and so it was very bookish, and she loves the books and all of that. And I was like, oh good, this is going to be a fun bookish type of a read. No. So the storyline, I guess, is that she and some of her high school friends are headed up to this castle for a house party of two of their friends from school that are going to get married. Nori went to a private boarding school on scholarship. So she is kind of in a different economic class than most of the others. But the reason that I'm not going to continue with this is just, number one, there was a little bit of language, even in the first chapter, the F-bomb was dropped. And I'm like, what? Casual talk about sex and just the way that the women's bodies were described felt a little bit crass to me. And I just don't feel like that's the cute, cozy Christmas vibe that I'm looking for. I also prefer closed door, not super steamy. Let's have a little bit more of a buildup of tension. Yeah, I just didn't really vibe with this style of writing. So I'm going to be passing on this book, and it's not going to be for me. I think the storyline is going to be that when they get up to the house party, she connects with the gardener, and I don't know if she knew the gardener from before. Yeah, she finds herself falling hard for the boy she used to consider an enemy. So her and Isaac have known each other in the past, but they are connecting during this house party where they're both kind of annoyed with the pretentiousness of the rest of the guests. And both of them are not in the same economic class. And so they're kind of complaining about that or just discussing that, but they have a connection and attraction. And I just feel like it's going to be more steamy and not exactly what I'm looking for right now. So I'm passing on that one. So far it looks like I'll be reading the Christmas Bookshop, but let's take a look at Home Sweet Christmas by Susan Mallory and see what I think about this one. So the first chapter of this is a little bit longer. I have to go up to page 22. So this is the longest first chapter of the 3 books, but I'm going to go ahead and read it and see what I think. Okay, so I just read the first chapter of Home Sweet Christmas. This one was sweet and it made me chuckle a little bit. Like it kind of gave me the rom-com vibes that I feel like I'm looking for right now. In this one, we follow Cameron, who lives in the town of Wishing Tree, which, what a great name for a town at Christmas time. Cameron is the owner of Wrap Around the Clock, a wrapping paper store. And she is called to this woman's house who's kind of an older, like high position power woman in town. She's called there, she thinks, to talk about wrapping paper for this woman's trees in her house. But no, this woman is starting a project called Find Jake a Bride. Her son, Jake, she wants him to get married because she's getting older and she wants grandkids, and her son doesn't seem to be moving in that direction quick enough for her taste. So she's like interviewing women who are potential candidates to marry her son. And Cameron is like, oh my word, I need to go tell Jake that his mom is doing this. So she drives up to the hotel where Jake is the head CEO or whatever, and tells him about what his mom is doing. And Jake is just mortified. So it's a little predictable, obviously. It feels like by the end of chapter 1 that they are going to have a fake dating thing to kind of put the mom off, because she's not put off very easily. So I feel like Cameron and Jake are going to pretend to be dating so that the mom is happy. And obviously they're probably going to fall in love. So it's a little bit predictable, but I like the humor in here, and it does feel cozy and very Christmassy so far. So I feel like this is the vibes I'm looking for right now. And I do think in this one, there's going to be a whole nother story. River is new in town. I think she's friends with Cameron. She's crowned the Snow Queen Dylan is her king, seems like the stuff of sugar plum dreams, but she can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something big. So there's going to be 2 storylines in this one. We didn't get, in chapter 1, it only just talked about Cameron and Jake's story. And I think we're going to stick with that because chapter 2 also continues on with Jake and Cameron. But I feel like this is the vibes that I'm looking for. This one feels like it's going to be a little bit more family drama, potentially a romance in there as well, but a little more family drama and a little more depth, maybe a little more serious as well, which I think could be really lovely. But I feel like this has the light, fun vibes that I'm looking for right now. So I'm going to continue reading Home Sweet Christmas, and I'll come back at the end to tell you what I thought. All right, so I finished reading Home Sweet Christmas. I'm sorry for how I look right now. I have just had a massive allergy attack from something this afternoon and have been sneezing like crazy, but I need to get this filmed so that I can edit it and get it up because I have plans this evening. Anyways, I finished reading Home Sweet Christmas and I thought it was very sweet. I didn't love it as much as I thought when I read the first chapter, but it was a very cool story. I really liked both of the 2 main relationships, the one between Cameron and Jake and then River and Dylan. I think each of the 4 of them had things that they were dealing with, that they were bringing to the relationship and had to work through. I liked the dynamic between Cameron and her 2 sisters. I loved the Christmassy vibes. This one starts around Thanksgiving time. And like I said, Cameron is kind of being set up to be one of his potential brides. They don't end up having a fake dating relationship like I thought, but they do start hanging out and there's a real attraction between them. It is still predictable to a degree, but I did like that there was some depth to all of the relationships and some real things that they had to work through. Trust issues, family issues, like there was definitely things that they were each bringing to the table. There was a little dog in here that I didn't love, as you may know, but it was just a cute Christmas story. As far as steam level goes, it was definitely closed door. Both relationships, we get brought right up to the bedroom door. Like both relationships do spend time in the bedroom, but we don't go in there with them. Just meaning there's not really any description of sexual activity. Kissing for sure, leading up to that point a little bit, but thankfully they leave us there and then we wake up with them the next morning, which I appreciated. And it wasn't heavy on that. There was a couple times that I thought we were going to get into the depths of that, but we didn't, which was nice. There was a little tiny bit of language that I didn't love, but it wasn't enough to really turn me off too bad. It wasn't necessary either, but it didn't turn me off too bad. I really liked the friendships in here. I liked the relationships. I liked that Cameron and River had very different personalities. River was a little more reserved and struggled socially. Cameron had some parts of her life that were thrust upon her and she didn't really have choices in that. She was kind of holding on to her past a little bit. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. So I'm glad that I read it. I'm glad this was my first physical read of a Christmas story. I don't think it's going to be super memorable or anything, but I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. It was an enjoyable read for sure. So that is it for today's video. I would love to chat with you down below. If you're reading Christmas books, do you have any that you recommend? I would love to hear it. I have quite a few more on my shelf. They're kind of right up here, so I might pick another one to do soon. But for now, that's going to be it for today's video. I look forward to talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.